This is a presentation of BSRN, Box Studios Radio Network. The Power Play Post Show is on the air, covering minor league hockey since 2003, and now covering the Binghamton Black Bears with news, reactions, and in-depth interviews only heard here. And now from the Box Studios in Kirkwood, New York, here is your host of the Power Play Post Show, Bob Howard.
And hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Power Play Post Show. This is the show for October 20th, 2024. This is season 14, episode number 13, and this is episode number 452 in the long-running podcast that is the Power Play Post Show. Hello, everybody. Yes, I am Bob Howard. I am your host, and I want to welcome you guys to another edition of the Power Play Post Show. The Binghamton Black Bears played 2 games this weekend against the old rivals of the Elmira River Sharks, Elmira Mammoth / now the Hudson Valley Venom. And they had a successful weekend. Let's be honest. Let's say what it is for what it is. Friday night was crazy. Some would say sloppy, maybe between the two teams. Maybe some stuff that happened that, cost Dustin Jesseau a game, which maybe cost them the game in Binghamton. And then Saturday you got what Binghamton could have hoped for, which was a clean game. Obviously some penalties that, obviously can be cleaned up and maybe taken care of. Great night for the domestic violence jersey auction. I think I saw the total by Kelsey or Taylor. I think it was Taylor Welch from the Binghamton Black Bears fan page. She said over $11,000 was raised for that, which is phenomenal. It's great. A great. If you were in the arena and you listened to the poor young man talk about how his mom was taken by domestic violence, if that didn't touch you, you're not a human. You really should just check yourself, because it was sweet. And I'll always give props to a Boy Scout. Boy Scouts, some of the things that you learn as a Boy Scout will turn you into a good man. And so, obviously a good event, raised a lot of money. The jerseys were really sharp. I really liked them. The numbering, hard to see up from the press box. I think the numbering, it made it a little bit difficult, but I think the jerseys themselves, when you got up front and looked at them, nice jerseys. And I thought the game itself for the Black Bears was great. I think maybe the only hiccup is that Gavin gets the third man in, which really, when you go back and you look at the video, Gavin didn't really do much wrong. I think a lot of referees and a lot of people in the business, when they go to look at the third man in, they're looking to see why he was drawn into the third man in. And sometimes that's the reason why you don't get a suspension from the third man in, game misconduct. I think the league handled it the way they should have. But the 2 games were a tale of 2 kind of games, right? If you think about it, 9-6, 15 goals, and then 5 goals on Saturday, which was just a little bit different. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Basically, we got 6 more questions with Chris Mott. That'll be in the middle of me talking about the 2 games. So let's get started on this. The Power Play Post Show is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show on whichever platform you listen to your podcast, and please subscribe. Please join the Power Play Post Show Facebook group. Just go to Facebook and search Power Play Post Show, and please join us. Check out the BinghamtonHockey.net for all your Binghamton hockey information and curiosity. And on this edition of the Power Play Post Show, 6 more questions with Binghamton Black Bears center Chris Mott. Now, I still have stickers. You can still come up and see me in the press box and get a sticker. Tell me that you listen to the show. Obviously, you're probably hearing it. You listen to the show, but thank you for listening. Come on up. I got to meet a couple people this weekend. Unfortunately, I didn't get the name of the couple that came up, so please The two of you were so sweet. You brought me a donut. So much. Thank you. That was a really great donut. I got to know where they're selling them now at the arena because I might have to get another one. But thank you so much. That was so sweet of you guys. I wish I would have caught your guys' names. I didn't do that. That's my bad. I think also Erica and a few kids came up and they got stickers as well. Thank you so much, everybody who comes up and says hello and grabs a sticker. And again, I want to see where you guys put it. Take a picture of where you put it and send it to me. I think that would be awesome to see and share with the fans. And plus, I just want to know where you guys put the stickers. I think it's very cool. So I really do appreciate Erica and then the sweet couple that came up and talked to me. And I got to be honest with you. I mean, 2 weeks ago for my birthday on the opening weekend, Katie Miguel giving me a birthday card. That was so sweet. You guys are so awesome. I have some of the best fans that any podcast could have. You guys really have been so awesome to me. Since the championship celebration, I can't tell you, I've never felt more love for doing this show than what the fans have done since basically May 13th or 14th, whenever we had that celebration. I think it was the 13th. And I can't imagine. Listen, the players show me a lot of love and respect. They when they see me, they say hello, they come over, shake hands, fist bump, whatever, get some conversation in, because I think they really do appreciate being able to have a venue that's really not associated with the team, and me and the player can dictate how we do the interview. We can tell their story, and I think a lot of the players really like that. Nothing against Brooks or the team there with the Binghamton Black Bears, but there's a way to do things that a team is going to do. And for me, I give them the freedom and the time to be able to tell their story and talk about different things and ask them questions. I think that's pretty cool. And I think the players really, really do appreciate that. But again, thank you so much. So come get a sticker, say hello, introduce yourself. And if you just want to come up and ask me a question about the Black Bears, please do so. I have no problems, maybe answering a question or two, or if you just want my opinion on something, and you can always message me on Facebook as well. And if you're not following me on Instagram, please do so. It's a boho photo. At least I think that's what I named it. But if you search for Bobby Howard, on Instagram, I should come up. But I believe it's under boho photo now. And just follow along. I just posted 51 pictures, I believe, of last night's game. I did that on Facebook, in the Facebook group, and, of course, over on Instagram. All right, so enough of that stuff. The Black Bears go 2 for 2 this weekend versus the Hudson Valley Venom. We'll talk about the first game first. Then we'll do our 6 more questions with Chris Mott, and then we'll end with the Saturday night contest. They won on Friday night down in Newburgh, New York, versus the Venom in a 9-6 15-goal game. So let's go through some of the highlights here that I wrote up, obviously for our game day thread. The Binghamton Black Bears got on the score sheet first and quickly as Tyson Kirkby on a new line combination with Cameron Clark and Donald Oliveri. Lasted just for one game, but that's okay. Scored 131 into the game, making it a 1-0 Black Bears lead. Now, if you talk about what happened the week before, the games weren't that great. Maybe the top line wasn't looking that great. Coming into the Friday night game, Coach Sherwood really changed it up. He put Tyson on the same line with Cameron Clark and Donald Oliveri. Now, a couple points there. Clarkey just works his freaking ass off, right? He just battles and just fights all day long. And Oliveri is a technician. I think 9-10 years now in the league, or just playing pro hockey. And he just is crafty. He's antagonistic, which is not a horribly bad thing to have in a player. We all know the shot he has. So you kind of give Tyson that weaponry, And no, it wasn't Cam Clark that scored. It wasn't Donald Oliveira that scored 130 win. No, it was the captain, because that's what captains do. The Black Bears took a 2-goal lead after a Gavin Yates shot past Venom's netminder Eli Bowers. Mark Pozar got the Venom's first ever goal, 9:38 into the game, cutting the Black Bears lead to 1. So Mark Pozar, he gets the first Venom goal in their franchise history. Just 1 minute and 25 seconds later, the Black Bears went back up by 2 goals with Gavin Yates' third goal of the season and second of the period. And it's just one of the things that Brooks Hill mentioned during the broadcast, or I believe it was during the broadcast, was that they never went down. They never, in this whole game, they were never behind. Black Bears always had the lead. So that was obviously very interesting. Donald Oliveira gave the Black Bears a 3-goal lead on the power play at the 14:31 mark. The Venom scored twice on the power play after that due to 2 penalties by Kyle Steffen. So Kyle Steffen was in the box at the end of the first period, carried over into the second period, and the first power play goal was scored by Imantes Noriega 19 seconds into the second period, and then after Stefan went back into the box for a hooking call. Brendan Charlton scored 151 mark, making this a 1-goal game at the 4-3 mark. Now, I could sit there and get on Kyle Steffen for those 2 penalties, but honestly, the hooking call was to slow somebody down, and I just it's hard for me to kind of take a player and say, oh, I'm going to single him out. And he's not the only guy that got penalties in this game. It's just that in this particular game, the way the game was going, any penalty was going to lead to a strong amount of pressure by either the Venom or the Black Bears. Okay? And it's just that the Venom struck twice really quickly on the power play, and it was just so happened that Kyle Steffen, because let's be honest, Kyle Steffen has so far probably been the best player the Black Bears have had consistently through the first 4 games. So we're not going to knock him on that. The Venom scored again early in the second period with a Dustin Jesso's first of the season, just 5:17 into the second period, not in the game, up at 4. So the Venom get back to a tie game. The Black Bears then got the lead back after an Austin Thompson goal, his first of the season, at the 10:07 mark. And that's not the last time you're going to hear from Austin Thompson this weekend. Just 54 seconds later into the third, Thompson scores his second of the season and of the game, putting the Black Bears up by 2 goals. And all of a sudden, you can start to see the confidence growing in Thompson. And I've talked to Austin Thompson multiple times. He has confidence generally, but he does get into his head a little bit. And I think all very good athletes do this, right? They start thinking and overthinking, and they think, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. I am not knocking Austin Thompson. He and I have had conversations about what gets into his head when he's not performing the way he thinks he should. And it happened in the first weekend, and obviously he turned it around, and he was very happy. I talked to him yesterday after the 5-0 win. Thompson was very happy. He was just like, that's the way to get things started. That he needed that, and he knows it. With Blake Talstow in the box for slashing, the Venom got their third power play of the game. Now, I can't remember last year any team getting 3 power play goals against the Black Bears in a game. I don't think it happened last year. This was a rarity. But again, this game wasn't your typical Black Bears game. Even though they won 9-6, and they scored 9 goals. And yeah, you might say, well, they scored 9 goals. That was kind of typical a little bit last year. They were a high-scoring team, number 1 scoring team in the league. But this game, if you watched it and you kind of pick apart everything, it wasn't your typical Black Bears game. And up until Saturday's game, you didn't have one yet this year that was a typical Black Bears game. So just 1 minute and 4 seconds after the Jesso goal, Cam Clark gets his first of the season at the 5:46 mark, giving the Black Bears a 2-goal lead again at 7-5. Jesso scored his hat trick at the 10:44 mark of the third to make it a 7-6 game, but then Thompson scored his hat trick, not to be outdone, at the 12:29 mark of the third period to make this an 8-6 game. They just kept going back and forth. But again, the Black Bears never trailed in this game, with Jesso in the penalty box for slashing. The Don Father, Donald Oliveri, scored his second power play goal of the game, putting the Black Bears up by 3 goals. The Black Bears then win the 15-goal affair 9-6. This was just a crazy back-and-forth game. And when I say sloppy, I don't mean it's like, oh, they were turning the puck over all the time. It was just defensively team defense. I'm not picking apart the defensive pairings, and I'm not picking apart Eggy. There were 3 rush-ins on Eggy that, I mean, NHL goaltenders wouldn't have made some of those stops, right, that he didn't make either. So I'm not blaming Eggy. I'm not playing defense. I'm talking about team defense. Team defense is all about whether or not forwards come back. Defensive men don't move up too far. Okay, and so I just really think that it wasn't as a clean of a game that the Black Bears would have wanted. Okay, so here's some notes on the game. Austin Thompson listed as the 10th forward for the game, but scores a hat trick and has 2 assists as well. So 5 points for Austin Thompson. He really knocked it out of the park in this game. Donald Oliveri scored 2 power play goals in the game. I believe had 3 or maybe 3 after Saturday's game, power play goals. Gavin Yates with 2 goals, not a surprise there. Dustin Jesso also had a hat trick in the game, but had another meltdown in the game. A game misconduct, which led to a suspension, meaning he would not be playing in the second game of the weekend in Binghamton. And let's talk about Dustin Jesso for just a few minutes. This is way too common for him. You know, I talk about all the time there being 3 elements to being a good hockey player, right? It's the physical skill, right? You got to be able to skate. You got to be able to skate well. You got to be able to pass the puck well. You got to be able to score goals and have a good shot, right? That's all the physical attributes. Then you got to have hockey IQ. Well, what does that mean? Well, watch Kyle Stefan play hockey, and you'll see the hockey IQ, right? And to know where to be and to be there at the right time, to know when to make the pass, the decision making. He does it quicker than anybody else on the team. Okay? His skill level is the reason why he played D1 hockey. All right? Then you have mental fortitude. How do you handle things under pressure? How do you how do you keep your emotions in check? And Dustin Jesso is a good player. He's good physically. He's got skills. He's also, I think, got some decent hockey IQ. I think he knows where to be. I think he knows when to shoot. I think he knows when to make those decisions. He just ain't got the mental fortitude. And he breaks down. We see this a lot in sports, right? The mental fortitude. How do you react to certain things? And Dustin Jesso obviously has a problem with that. It's not the first time we saw him go into a penalty box and then start banging on the glass and doing all these crazy things. He did it last year, and I'm sorry. You can call that passion. Listen, I have a lot of passion, but I don't go and bang on the glass here at the house. I just don't. Game was sloppy on both teams, in both ends, everywhere. Everybody knows that. Cannot blame Eggy for at least 3 of those goals. Defensive breakdowns were evident throughout the game. Listen, they ended that game 9-6. Again, you look back and you're like, really? That's not what we expect from the Binghamton Black Bears. That's not how they played their games last year. I think Coach knew that. I think he was happy that they won. I think he was really happy with Donald Oliveri, Tyson Kirkby, and Austin Thompson's improvement from the week before. He was very pleased with that. Matter of fact, he texted me that. So, because I asked him about the game. He said 9-6, hey, it's a win. That's good, but, there's still some things that needed to clean up. But he made sure to tell me how happy he was with the way those 3 players played. The grit, the way they came back. Now, of course, there was obviously the incident where about 5 to 10 minutes away from the arena, the bus broke down. And the guys had to get Ubers, and there was this really kind lady. Don Oliveri told me the story. He said, "All right, so all the guys are carrying these big bags and have their gear, and they start kind of walking a little bit. And this lady stopped by. She's not even a hockey fan. She's not even somebody. This is just a good human being. And she pulled over, and she took a few of the guys down to the arena. She came back to grab a few more if she could, and the Ubers were there to take her there. Awesome, awesome, awesome. That is just a human being doing something that we should all just kind of have some grace and realize that there are good people still out there. Don told me that after Saturday night's game. I thought it was great. Just there's still good people out there. She's not even a hockey fan. And yet she did that for some of the Binghamton Black Bears players, which was very cool. So, all right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to, if you remember, we did the interview with Chris Mott on Thursday's broadcast. Well, we decided to bring back again our 6 more questions. Now, what we did, we changed it up a little bit. And Erica, I do apologize. I know that you really enjoyed the snack the snack one where I asked the players what they like to eat and everything when it's not part of their normal thing. I might still kind of throw that in there and ask that, because obviously it's one that the Booster Club, if they listen to the show and they write it down, they can get that for the players for road trips and stuff like that. Except for Dan Weber's. I don't know if someone's going to bring on a thing of pickles and cheese, although I'm still going to try it with them. So this is what we did. We did, who is the greatest influence in your hockey playing career? Name one pregame ritual that you have to do before every game. I love this one because I just love to get in the mind of these guys. Vacation destination. Do you want to go to the beach, camping, or staycation? Outside of hockey, MLB, NBA, NFL, or Major League Soccer, or the PGA. You'll hear why the PGA is in there as well in just a few minutes. And number 5, if you're picking a movie, would it be comedy, drama, sci-fi, romantic, or horror? And then number 6 is a zombie apocalypse has broken out. This is the same one as before. And you're trapped in the hockey arena. Who is the one person, dead or alive, fictional or non-fictional, that you would like to have in the arena with you? And we started that off with Chris Mott. So coming up next year on the Power Play Post Show is Binghamton Black Bears center/forward. He is Chris Mott. We'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
You're listening to the Power Play Post Show. Here is another Power Play Post Show interview exclusive with Bob Howard.
All right, and welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. We have 6 more questions with Chris Mott. Chris, are you ready for these?
I'm ready.
All right, perfect. All right, who is your greatest influence in your hockey playing career? And this could be really pretty much anybody, whether it was somebody you watched on TV or maybe it was a coach or somebody. But who was the greatest influence on your hockey playing career so far? And I'm sure this will be the toughest question for you, I promise.
Yeah. There's a lot of people. I guess I'd probably say my 18U coach.
Okay. Who was he?
His name is Bob Thornton. He's actually working with the Danbury Hat-Tricks, the North American team.
Oh yeah, okay.
I think he works with he's worked with the junior team, the 18U team, the 16U team. I think right around that age, I was kind of that's where you kind of make that decision. Do I want to continue to play juniors? Do I want to just go to college?
Mm-hmm.
And the year before my 11th grade year, I just didn't have the best year of hockey. It just didn't really enjoy it. Debating about just kind of if I could just go to school, but then he kind of asked me to come play for his team, and then I did, and then had 2 great years with him. We won 2 state championships. We won a USPHL championship. And that just kind of changed the tide where I was like, okay, like, I want to go on and play in college.
Gotcha. That's awesome. All right, great. Perfect. Name one pregame ritual that you have to do before every game.
That's easy, and that's nap.
Oh, so you take a nap. How long is your nap?
Mm-hmm. That kind of varies.
Mm-hmm.
In college, sometimes I'd honestly nap like twice a day.
See, for me, when I go to lunch, because I work from home, which is great, so I get a bite to eat. Sometimes I'll, go outside for a little bit, kind of walk around because I am an IT guy, so I obviously have that. But I nap a good 15 to 20 minutes, and it's perfect. It's like the best thing ever. And I've done it since I was a kid, even when I was an athlete.
Yeah. My naps, I'd say maybe that's 30 minutes, maybe sometimes an hour.
Nice.
Yeah, because like usually if we were away at school,
mm-hmm.
or if we had an away game, if we didn't have to leave yet, I'd kind of have my ritual. I'd go skate in the morning, grab breakfast, come back, take a quick nap, wake up, get ready, head to the rink, get on the bus, and then I'd take another nap on the bus.
All right. Awesome.
But, mm-hmm.
That's great. I love that answer. Vacation destination, beach, camping, or a staycation?
I'm going to go with the beach.
Yeah, I kind of imagine with you being from Long Island, a lot of great beaches. What is your favorite beach there in the Long Island area, or is there one somewhere else that you like even better?
I don't necessarily have a favorite beach. I think they're all kind of they're all the same. Once you get to that like South Shore of Long Island, the North Shore beaches aren't the best. I mean, there's no real waves up there on the Long Island Sound, but I mean, pretty calm water. The only thing is those beaches kind of like they're pretty rocky, but the South Shore beaches are nice.
Yeah,
they got soft sand.
I've definitely heard that too. Outside of hockey, okay, so you're not going to include the NHL. MLB, NBA, NFL, or MLS? What's your go-to?
So I have to say the PGA.
Really?
Yeah. I know that wasn't an answer, but...
I should have included that. You know what? I'm going to write that down. Do you have a favorite?
I'm a big fan. I mean, I don't even think he's a part of the PGA anymore, but John Rahm.
Okay. Nice. Nice.
But to answer your question, I'd probably say probably the MLB.
Well, no, you said PGA. I'm going with that. I'm adding that to my list. I should have put that in there. But you like the MLB. You're a Mets fan, though, right? If I remember correctly.
I am a Mets fan, yes.
So good luck. I'm hoping for the Subway Series. I'll be honest. I'm a Yankee fan, so I'm hoping for that. Don't tell Blake Tosto that. I know he's still probably licking his wounds a little bit. I love Blake. He's a great guy. But the Tigers are destined to not get there again for a while. Okay. If you were picking a movie, this is number 5. If you were picking a movie, would it be A, comedy, drama, sci-fi, romantic, or horror?
Probably a comedy.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah.
What kind of comedies do you like? Yeah, I mean, because there's some of the ones that are like, Dumb and Dumber, which is kind of like that strange kind of thought, But what kind of comedies do you like?
Well, my favorite, I don't know what type of comedy it was, but like my favorite movie is The Hangover.
Oh, okay.
So I guess more of
So that silly, drunken, adult humor type of comedy. Yeah,
the dark, drunk humor. Yeah.
No, that's good. That's good. I like it. All right, number 6. This is the only one that we kept over from last year because I love this because it really gets into the mind of people. Don't overthink it. It's okay. A zombie apocalypse has broken out, and you're trapped in a hockey arena. Okay? Who is the one person, dead or alive, fictional or non-fictional, that you would like to have in the arena with you?
I guess got to be somebody smart.
See, now you're thinking about it. Okay.
Like, do we have access to stuff? Like, do we got to come up with stuff?
It's up to you. It's up to you. I just need a name. That's all. I just need to know
like
who.
I don't know. I'd either say maybe Tony Stark or.
Oh, okay. So you're going going that route, Marvel.
I'd say Tony Stark or Doctor Strange. You know, like I feel like you got Doctor Strange has the powers, so
Sure.
But,
I like it. So you're thinking about survival at that point.
Yeah.
All right. I like it. Chris, thank you very much. 6 more questions with Chris Mott. Thank you, Chris, again, and good luck.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been a good time. So.
All right.
If you're a Binghamton hockey fan, then you need to check out binghamtonhockey.net for all your news, stats, information, the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame, top 10 lists, profiles, and so much more. That's binghamtonhockey.net. You're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. That was 6 more questions with Chris Mott. So let's get into Saturday's game. Okay, so now Saturday's game, the Black Bears then win on Saturday night in Domestic Violence Awareness Night, shutting out the Venom 5-0. Totally different game. This was more of a game that I would say was a lot more like last season's team. It just felt like everybody was a lot more in sync, and they just weren't making the same mistakes, and they were starting to dominate the puck control, and that's really, really important in Black Bears hockey, is to control that puck more than the other team, and not just, turn it over. One of the first couple characteristics in the first 2 seasons of the Black Bears before Coach Sherwood got to the team was they turned it over in the neutral zone just in front of the blue line coming into their own defensive zone way too much. And we saw a little bit of that last year at the beginning of the season, and we saw a little bit in the first 3 games. I think that's how some of the attackers, both from Watertown and from Hudson Valley, were able to get really good shots on the Venom. Now, one of the things I do want to say, you go back and you look at the 5 goals that were scored by the Black Bears on Saturday's game. These were in high percentage shots where they should be making these goals. The Blake Tosto one was right in the slot. He had the best chance, other than maybe Kyle Stefan's power play goal, to score. Both of those guys were in the perfect places to score goals. These high percentage places where you're going to score more times than not, they got themselves both in those places. They did a phenomenal job. All right, so the Black Bears were being outshot, but it's the quality of shots that matters as Austin Thompson continued his hot streak with the game's first goal at the 12:21 mark into the first period. I think at this point, the Black Bears were being outshot like 8-3, something like that, 8-4 maybe. Maybe the fourth shot was Austin Thompson's goal, but it was lopsided at that point, right? I still felt that the Black Bears were playing well in that part of it, but they just weren't registering a lot of shots on goal yet. But at the 12:21 mark, Thompson scored his 4th goal of the weekend. The Black Bears had a breakout second period with 3 goals in 4 minutes and 4 seconds, starting with the first goal from the captain, Tyson Kirkby. Okay, again, he's now scored 3 goals in the first 4 games. So even if it didn't feel like he was playing his best in the first couple games, right? Because I don't think anybody really was. He's still scoring goals. So that's the important thing. Just 36 seconds later, Caden Henry got on the goal, got his first goal of his career to put the Black Bears up 3-0. So already at this point, we're only, 2 minutes into the 2 minutes and change into the second period, and they were already up that much. 3-0. Then at the 5:51 mark of the period, Blake Tosto, this is the goal I was talking about. He was right in the slot, high percentage scoring chance, scored the Black Bears' fourth goal to complete the 3 goals in 4 minutes and 4 seconds. Cade Henry, this is what we're looking for. This is what we want to see. We want to see that shot of his. And he was over on the left-hand side, and the puck got sent to him, and he slapped that in, and the goaltender had no chance. No chance. Again, another high-percentage shot that if you're over there and you just are in the and the puck can get through the defenseman through the slot and get over to you, you're gonna score almost every single time. Again, the Black Bears put themselves in the best places. After 65 minutes of penalty minutes were doled out at the end of the 20-minute mark of the second period, the Black Bears came out on the power play, and Kyle Steffen showed his D1 level skill. If you go back and you watch that goal by Kyle Steffen, I don't want to pump his tires, but I talked to him about this goal afterwards. And the Black Bears' second man advantage goal of the game was scored by Kyle Steffen. But I talked to him afterwards. Now, I probably shouldn't tell you what he and I said. I came up, we fist bumped, shook his hand. I said, Steph, I was like, that goal. He's like, yeah, I snaked right on through. I was like, you pulled a Gavin Yates the way you but it's his D1 skating skill. His knowledge, his abilities, all on showcase for that goal. Go back and watch it. I think it's great. I might find that goal and put it up on the Facebook group because, to me, it just showed his skill level. I don't think people realize that in a few more games, maybe 10 more games, he's going to be one of the best players in this league. I get that Athens has a lot of good goal scorers. I get that Athens has some guys that played in the ECHL and they're now playing there. I get it. I still think that pound for pound, Kyle Steffen at the end of the season is going to be the best player in this league. Without a doubt. I just feel it. The Black Bears win the game 5-0, sweep the weekend home-and-home series with the Venom. Notes, Connor McAnama pitched a 23-save shutout. I don't think he was challenged all that much, maybe in the first period more than any period. But he got his third shutout of his career, the Black Bears franchise record. C-Mac also won his 21st game of his career and now leads the Black Bears in wins all time. We saw a glimpse of what the Black Bears team should look like this season. This is a glimpse. I think there's going to be a couple more changes that Coach Sherwood is going to make, but this was still a very good outing for the team. This was the best game of the first 4, for sure. Without a doubt. I get it. It's easy for me to say that because it was a 5-0 shutout, but let's be honest. Most of you who are listening to this are going to say, oh, I watched all 4 games or watched as much as I could. Sometimes people just can't watch the YouTube games. This was the best. This was the best game of the first 4. At the end of the second period, let's talk a little bit about this. At the end of the second period, something broke loose. Jesse Swanson, I'm going to go through the penalties, okay? Jesse Swanson got a headbutting 5-minute match penalty. Matches are usually given out for intent to injure. Austin Pickford got a 5-minute Pickford got a 5-minute major for fighting. Jesse Swanson got a lot of totals here. 5-minute for major for fighting. That was served by Jeremy Rotke. That was basically the power play because that 5 minutes and the 2-minute that one of the Black Bears got. I'm trying to remember who it was now. They got a 2-minute, and it basically made it so the Black Bears had a 3-minute power play, right? That was served by Jeremy Rotke. Austin Pickford got an aggressor 10-minute game misconduct. Jesse Swanson got the aggressor 10-minute game misconduct. And then Jesse Swanson got the physical abuse of official 10-minute game misconduct. And it was a physical abuse of an official, which means he either pushed him or punched him. Someone said that they thought that he punched him. I'm not sure. I didn't see that from where I was. It was on the other end of the ice. So I only saw parts of what was going on. Like the one part where Gavin Yates was basically slammed to the ice and was basically being laid on. Gavin Yates got the fighting major. Dan Weber got a fighting major. And Gavin Yates got the third man in. which was interesting because some people had conflicting reports on that. Now, for all of that, we'll talk about this part first, right? Before I go to my next part about Josh Newberg and MJ Merkel. For the penalties that were given out, the Venom's Austin Pickford was suspended by the league for 2 games. So they felt whatever Pickford did with his aggressor probably combined from anything that happened last year, because they do these consecutively. And I think I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I remember they go from a 12-month period, right? So if you go back 12 months, that covers pretty much all of last season. And so if you got certain penalties, it will continue. Like if he gets another aggressor penalty, game misconduct, that goes from 2 to 4 games. So it'll be interesting to see how all this plays out going forward. But then Jesse Swanson gets 5 games for this. Now, I've listened to a lot of people and read a lot of what people said about Jesse Swanson. Apparently a very talented player in juniors and is a guy who shouldn't be gooning it up, shouldn't be playing the way he played last night, and should be really just trying to score as many goals as he can because that's going to get you more notice in this league than anything else. He got 5 games for everything: the physical abuse of the officials, the aggressor, the headbutt. There's a lot there to digest. I'll be interested to see what he got, what the amount of games he got for what penalty. Hopefully that'll be written up and on the Fed site on Monday. Mark Pozar also got 1 game for his actions in this game as well, which his stuff wasn't in that 10-minute or that the end of the 20 minutes. But this makes me question some things about the Venom. I'm not sure what Josh Newberg and MJ Merkel were thinking in this game. Josh Newberg is better than what we saw, what he showed in this game. I'll be honest with you, he just is. He fought 2 Black Bears rookies, Emery Emerson and Nicholas Poirier. Why? Did they come to you and say, hey, I need to drop the gloves. I want to drop the gloves. Let's go. Was there something that those 2 guys did that you didn't like, and so you fought that? To me, it doesn't make any sense that the coach of the team, who's a coach player, and basically a very well-respected guy in the league, or just in hockey in general because of his coaching skills and the coaching that he does for kids. I just don't understand what he was doing fighting these 2 rookies. It made no sense to me at all. Obviously, the suspensions came out on Sunday, but Josh, I don't get it. I don't. And I'm not knocking you. Brother, I'll tell you right now, you were my favorite player in the first 2 seasons of the Black Bears. I liked the way you normally handled yourself on the ice. I don't understand player coaches. I never will. I'm sorry, guys, but if you're a player, be a player. If you're a coach, be a coach. Put on a suit and tie, get behind the bench, and show us what you got. MJ Merkel back there, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm going to say something that's probably going to piss off some people in Binghamton. It's probably going to piss off MJ Merkel. Josh Newberg is a 10 times better coach and will be a better 10 times better coach than MJ Merkel will be. All right? There's your one salacious thing that Bob said, right, on his podcast. I know that Newberg is a better coach. I know that he's better than what we saw in that game last night. And if that pisses him off, God knows it wouldn't be the first guy I've pissed off in the last 2 years since I've come back that's played hockey, that's heard me say something or read something that I've said. But I don't care. To me, it just last night, none of what happened at the end of the second period was necessary. I don't think any of the 2 rookies did anything that Newberg had to step up and fight these 2 guys. It doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't, And honestly, I'll probably just get blocked by him on Facebook. He and I are friends on Facebook. I just don't understand it. It's just the way it is. All right. So the Black Bears will play Danbury on Friday in Danbury. I'll get that right this time, guys. And then their first of 10, which is the first of 10 games against the Danbury Hat-Tricks, and they play Danbury the most this season of any other team. Then they will host Port Huron on Saturday. So Port Huron, the Prowlers will be in on Saturday. Just to go through the standings right now, the Binghamton Black Bears are 3-1 after 4 games, have 9 points. They have 20 goals scored and 13 goals given up. Watertown is in second place right now. They're also 3-1, have 9 points, but they've only scored 18 goals. So because the Black Bears have scored 4 more goals than the Watertown Wolves, technically that's the tiebreaker, and they're ahead. I also think I think it's the goal differential, right? So the goal differential is +7 for the Black Bears, +6 for the Watertown Wolves. So let's just make that perfectly clear. Danbury is, I think, 1-1 right now. Yeah, they lost 1 in regulation, and they won 1. They are a 500 club right now. They've scored 8 goals and only given up 6. The Motor City Rockers are 4th, and they're 1-1 with 3 points. Port Huron lost their only game, and they lost a game, and then they won a game in the shootout. That they have 2 points on the season. Danville at this point has lost both games in regulation, and so have obviously the Hudson Valley Venom at this point. So those two sit 6th and 7th in the league. Now, listen, I talked about Athens, Georgia just a little bit. They are 3-0-1 right now. They have an overtime win and 3 regulation wins. They have 11 points. They're technically number 1 right now in the Fed at this point. They have scored 23 goals, so 3 more goals more than the Black Bears, so they hold the goals for. And they've only given up 8 goals. Again, that team's built a little bit differently. It's got some ECHL power in there, so it's going to take Columbus and Carolina maybe to beat those guys down a little bit. It'll be interesting to see how Athens does against Columbus and Winston-Salem, against Carolina. And they're 2-3 right now. So you could see a new number 1 in the Continental. Or you could, at this point, you're at least going to see 3 very good teams in the Continental. Baton Rouge has a chance of being good as well. What's shocking right now is that the Monroe Moccasins, who did a lot of signing some well-known people, they're 0-3-1 right now in the season with only 1 point. So that's a look at the standings. I think that's where we're going to leave it for tonight. I want to thank Chris Mott for the interview this week and doing the 6 more questions. Really do appreciate him coming on and talking with us. The Power Play Post Show is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, YouTube Music, and Amazon Music and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show on whichever platform you listen to your podcast, and please subscribe. Please join the Power Play Post Show Facebook group. You're going to get information that you're not going to get anywhere else, okay? I know Kelsey Drury does a great job, and so does Taylor Welch, running the 2 Facebook groups. You got the Smokers Binghamton Black Bears fan group, and then you've also, I think you've got... Well, you've got the Legends, but not a lot of action happening over there, right? Those are the other ones, at least for the Binghamton Black Bears. But you get a lot of information from the Power Play Post Show Facebook group. Check out binghamtonhockey.net for all your Binghamton hockey information and curiosity. Thank you to Rob Lepolis, our MC, John Petitucci, our musical director, as well as Binghamton Black Bears center, Chris Mott, for answering 6 more questions with us. Folks, I am Bob Howard. Thank you very much for listening to the Power Play Post Show. We'll talk to you this Thursday. We'll have another guest, and we'll preview games in Danbury and, of course, the 3rd home game of the season against the Port Huron Prowlers. I'm Bob Howard. Thank you very much for listening to the Power Play Post Show.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Power Play Post Show. Be sure to tune in next week to the Box Studios Radio Network for all the latest Black Bears news and interviews from around minor league hockey. The Power Play Post Show would like to thank John Patitucci for all the music you hear on the show. You've been listening to the Power Play Post Show.